Hello, my friends around the world. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you're listening to JP's Passive Awareness from. So great to be with you. And I was going to just do a segment of Herb Fitch's, the book I've been reading from, and this is going to be just a part of Class 8. And I hadn't been doing the other lessons. I'm going to do some more kind of private teaching with a few individuals on these because it really gets very deep. But this certainly is very helpful to just apply some of the everyday practical things that from this Chicago seminar. And this is Class 8 is Utopia Now, but I'm starting from the page 122. He starts here. Perhaps in the recent months or earlier, you made a startling discovery. Something went wrong. You worked a long time. You thought a long time. You investigated it. You may have discovered that at the base of your problem was the fact that you were dividing your life between spirit and matter. You know you were supposed to be spirit, and you knew you were not matter. But still, the old will was turning on the material. Things you were doing were still in the material world. When the problem finally hit you, it was too late for you to sit back and say, now what is the basis of this? You're reacting to a material problem. This we need to really take into the silence and recognize that is where we really get fooled in thinking of the suggestion materially in the human thought that there is a material problem. So let's stay in this silence for a few moments. And Herb will lead us through this to see and feel the presence of God, to see through this. What should you have done? How does one treat a material problem when one doesn't exist? So the idea is to find what it is. Step out of it. And even though it keeps attacking you and you can't get rid of it, it's only attacking the material sense of you. You'll finally find that the problem exists only because it has matter to attack. When you finally can see through it and release the idea of matter, that you are not matter, there is no matter in your life. When you can purify yourself of that belief, and even then invite the so-called devil to attack, there's nothing in you to attack. You can't attack a spiritual being. You can only attack matter. So the moment you feel something going wrong, remember one part of you must be material. The thing that's being attacked the thing that's reacting to the attack, or both? What in me is matter? I didn't know I had any left, but you go searching. Well, your reaction is material. Come to think of it, your entire problem began with a material problem. One by one, you face the fact that you're still a mortal living in a material world, and that's the reason you've got problems. This will go on and on until you finally are able, through habit, for getting into a material consciousness, that you finally are able, through habit, for getting into a material consciousness, and then through effort, to slowly dislodge yourself to rise above it, and to finally be true to your identity. How can I, the Spirit of God, have a material problem? It's simple when you finally reach the conclusion. But until you do, you'll bear all the marks of a great war. If I have a problem, it must be the residue of my material consciousness. If I am alert to know how to counteract that by finding my spiritual reality to a degree, learning to live in it, and then finally making the decision. How can spirit be matter? How can matter be spirit? I am one, not the other. I must find the reality. I must finally decide that as spirit, I remain spirit, because everything that I do right up and down the line of life will depend on my decision. I am spirit always. In the final analysis, smooth living, fruitful living, the attainment of a consciousness that is unruffled by storm, can only happen when you work at it on a daily basis. I would say on an uninterrupted basis if you could. Let's pause there a moment. Very important to turn to these moments of silence. To listen for that still small voice. Feel that omnipresence of the Spirit. Not fighting with anything. As in the 23rd Psalm, you're letting it lead you beside the still waters. That deep pool of contentment that Joel speaks about, entering nothing to do with material contentment. It's a spiritual fulfillment. It's a recognition of God's allness. that I already am. Herb continues here. Let's look at our body. Let's transform our body. We have two bodies, one matter, one spirit. The material body is only a mental illusion. The spirit body is the only body. How do we keep out the mental illusion? We scan every inch of that body. Do you know your own spiritual body? You can't see it. You can't touch it. You can only accept its presence. It isn't a dwarf like your human body. You can't run your finger over the circumference of it. It's beyond touch, beyond dimension. You've been getting a little pint of air through a lung. You see how ridiculous that is when you live on air from your lungs? It's got to end somewhere. Yet, we think we're hanging on a thread. We release ourselves from these foibles, these little facts that support a very limited way of thinking. Wherever we see limitation, we know that that's not of God. Every limitation is not of God. When you can find that which is unlimited, you're talking God's language. How would you move into your business world with a spiritual consciousness that cleanses everything? Sees what it sees, accepts it as what it is, and then goes beyond and lives at a higher dimension than what it sees, and does it consciously. This is your task, to see that you can break every block that appears to stand before you. Even a housewife will discover that her duties are spiritual. She has misinterpreted down to a material sense of life. When you go for a glass of water, there is no water trickling through the kingdom of God. It's a very desirable commodity down here. You've got to see that you've got a glass of light. Everything you do bolsters your knowledge that you are the light, living in the light. Slowly, you allow yourself to feel that the world is transforming in front of you. It was once material in your eyes. You're letting it transform itself. Now, when you come across big things, economics, country protection, things that are more than you, things that involve many people, you see them for what they are. They're all the invisible light. And as you stand in your consciousness, that's that I'm surrounded by light. You can feel within yourself something changing. Something that seems to resemble a new consciousness. A new strength. a new level of yourself. Something that's prepared to uplift everything around it. You're feeling like all of the surroundings are reacting to you. You're a force in every inch of it. You feel your omnipresence. I hope you're taking time to be in this stillness. To take this in. And not your normal conscious hearing. But to allow the spirit, allow that awareness to go deep within you and touch that soul of your being. That is omnipresence. Haru continues here, it's very difficult to find an answering spiritual message in your own family sometimes. There seems to be an inability to respond spiritually, and at times it's made you feel helpless. That's the thing that you must learn will change if you live with it knowingly. If you take it into the light. A husband, a wife, a daughter, a son. All may be quite good people in your eye, but someone you can't awaken. Something in them that seems to indicate they have another level of life. And though they are there, their spirit isn't there. I don't know how many families are completely devoted to the Spirit or only partially. But if you can awaken one more member of your family, you will find that your whole family will change. When a youngster in a family becomes illuminated, something about his indomitably, the way he carries himself, the way he looks at life, the way he smiles when other people are frowning, becomes a very infectious truth. It's very important for us to give much of our attention to the young folk among us because they represent tomorrow on the earth. And tomorrow on the earth will have a realization of the light. If you, instead of talking the light, see the light yourself. Live in the light. And somehow those around you will feel and begin to cherish the difference. One man in an office can change the office. One person in a home. One person in the government. One is worth 100 in materiality. One feeling the light. Feel that light. We have a large area now in every city which you may know, which you may not know, is close to the light, which may appear to be fumbling in the darkness, which may appear to be criminal even. They are begging in their silent way for the light to enter their consciousness. They don't know that the light is what they are seeking. They don't know that the light is what is there. They only know that they are doing the best they can. And it looks horrible. It looks so horrible that it makes even normal people repulsed. It seems that great dangers walk through our streets. That's because the light does not walk through our hearts. When the light is in your heart, there are no dangers. You smile at them, and they are puzzled because, what is this thing? Somehow the bluff doesn't work anymore. That's the way you cleanse up the world. You can be 83 and doing your share of cleansing the world. Another boy can be 15 and so endowed with the capacity to live in the light that if light can be a virtual Christ life, that life can be a virtual Christ life. It is our function at all times to make the world different. To stand fast with an understanding within, alive that I am here to bring God's will into operation. I am the presence of God on earth. And everyone who knows it is the presence of God on earth. And we are an army. Not a punitive army, not a warlike army, an army of love. Everyone who walks in the light, regardless of his age or sex, he's going to find that it begins to shine in the consciousness of others. There is an infectiousness about the light. Its kindness, its love is reflected, received, shines back at us. We make what we enjoy and don't enjoy. We make it by what we do. If you stand with the light in your life, your neighbor does. It comes back and feeds us all. Herb is just taking a pause here. And he gets into something very deep here, just at the end. That you'll recognize something, the world of religion and any teaching, any other teaching than the infinite way, has missed the symbolism of what he talks about here about Jesus and the Passover. But we'll just continue to hold this peace of light as you being that light wherever you are. Not as though, again, that we're trying to change the world. We can change what appears as the world by seeing this light correctly and feeling its influence. As Herb said there, the infectiousness. So beautiful. And so appreciate all your consciousness of this. As we take these few moments to let it expand within you. As that omnipresence. Herb continues here. Now, before the feast of the Passover, when Jesus knew that the hour was come that he should depart out of this world unto the Father, having loved his own which were in the world, he loved them unto the end. Love is stressed all through, no matter what the circumstances, going, coming, with them. Love is what holds the world together in the Spirit. You find out why when you're in the Spirit. And supper being ended, the devil having now put into the heart of Judas Iscariot, Simon's son, to betray him. Jesus, knowing that the Father given all things unto his hands, that he was come from God and went to God. He riseth from supper and laid aside his garments, and took a towel and girded himself. After that he poured water into a basin, and began to wash the disciples' feet, and to wipe them with the towel wherewith he was girded. What's going on? What is the symbolism? Does he think their feet are dirty? Is he saying something? What is he saying? This is to you and to me. I'm sure he didn't have to wash their feet with the towel. I'm sure whatever he was doing in those disciples, he long had done. He was telling something to somebody. Do you think it was the people in the room that he was making conversation with? Or was he speaking to 100 million people who would follow? What was he saying to you, to me, to each individual? How in the world could a teaching be as wonderful as this all through the Bible? He teaches them without saying what he wants to say, because it has to make a deeper impression. If he were to say what he wanted to say, they'd probably never see the Bible again. You and I probably wouldn't be reading it now. He had to do everything in such a way that the so-called authorities would even boast of it. See what he didn't, and see what he did. Nobody knew what he was saying except somebody who was aglow within. And who can say See how wonderful what the Master is teaching them? And another person would say, well, he just washed his feet. Now, every one of you must not only know what he was saying, but you must feel within yourself the power of that moment, that he was washing the feet of them. But that's an interior event, just as if you were there now, as he washed the feet. He was doing what you know you must do. He's commanding you, teaching you, loving you. So before we're through, we must understand this. You dwell on it a few minutes while I read some more, but you've got to know what happens when he washes your feet. That's Christ washing the feet. You are standing there and your shoes are off, and Christ is washing your feet. But is he washing your feet? Or is he telling you something? Then cometh he to Simon Peter, and Peter saith unto him, Lord, dost thou wash my feet? That's the man who later was called Saint Peter. He says here, Lord, dost thou wash my feet? Now what do you know that Peter didn't know? Jesus answered and said unto him, What do I do thou knowest not now? What I do thou knowest not now, but thou shalt know hereafter. What did Peter learn hereafter about that event? What you are aware of now, or about to learn. Everyone in this room is going out to wash the feet of the world. You must. You have no choice. You must do as Jesus did. He washed the feet of every disciple. We will wash the feet of every inhabitant of this world. We won't even ask them to take off their shoes. If you don't, you not only miss what is happening, but you miss a major part of the Jesus teaching, because it's the prelude of the everything which happens after this. Peter saith unto him, Thou shalt never wash my feet. Jesus answered him, If I wash thee not, thou hast no part with me. Throughout the Bible is a masterpiece that gives to those who want what they need, and that those who don't understand aren't hurt. Simon Peter saith unto him, Lord, not my feet only, but also my hands and my head. Jesus saith unto him, He that is washed needeth not save to wash his feet, but is clean every whit. And ye are clean, but not all. For he knew who should betray him. Therefore said he, Ye are not all clean. So you know what washing the feet meant, right? He was telling them that the body, using the body as a symbol of whether or not a person was free of the body by knowing its reality, or hemmed in by the body not knowing its reality. If you knew that you are not in the body, which is what he was saying, if you knew you were divine light, which is what he was saying, there was no need to wash. But he had to wash away a sense of mortality that was in each. He had to wash away the material substance, the substances which each accepted. He had to wash away everything that made a person think, I am a physical being. He was saying there is no human body. Now you know that's a brilliant stroke. Even Peter responded to it in the wrong way. The illusion could be spread in various types and various levels. But unless I wash you, you're going to have that material body. I'm not going to wash away the body. I'm telling you that you must. And so if I were to go among you and wash your feet, that would be the same thing. And I would be saying, this body is not your body. I wash away a little segment, but all of it, none of it is your body. Your body is invisible light. Don't clothe yourself in a physical form and expect the world to reflect to you all that God is, all that God says you are. You are light, pure light, heavenly light. Light that hasn't a flaw in it. Not light that goes through the streets and robs and murders and kills, but light that shines always. Light that loves its neighbor. Light forever in every circumstance. Light that only knows the truth of being, not the truth of matter. He was saying all this by washing their feet, but he was saying it to us. He didn't know us, but we were coming. He knew the world would come. And he was telling the world to wash the feet of the world and look further than the matter. Look at the reality. Right in the midst of his trials, he was teaching. We have a function to ourselves. Between today and tomorrow, you've got to look at your body. You've got to meditate on your body. You've got to understand your body. You've got to see that God did not give me this body. If he had, it would be forever. If he had, it would be perfect now. God didn't give anyone their body. The body of Jesus Christ was not made of atoms, carbohydrates, substances that we know. That's why there was no conception. And that's what divine conception meant. I have given you a perfect body of light. The same was said to you when you were born. You didn't hear it. You couldn't. Perhaps your mother heard it. 1 out of 1,000,000 does. Perhaps not. So you started out with a feeling of a mother's love. A mother's love for her physical baby. And that physical baby had to learn in the process that I'm not a physical baby. I'm not what you see. I'm the light of God. Just as Jesus was the light of God at his birth, only his mother saw him for what he was. If every mother could see you for what you are, you would be an angel right now, and our world would be slightly different than we see. But even mothers are capable of not knowing that their child is not formed by God. It's a prelude to an act that someday will bring the presence of God into each life. Until that day, we have to take some measure of awareness into our daily life, that this child is not what he appears to be. No one that I know is what he appears to be. I keep washing the feet of humanity for that reason. The light must show. The light must be seen by my soul. The light must be seen by your soul. You look at everyone you know, and you say to yourself instinctively, "This is the light of God." As you know this truth of everyone you see regardless of what they're showing, because they don't know the truth of themselves. The Father who sees you knows that you are honoring the Son. He who honors the Son honors the Father. We all have within us the ability, the knowledge, the capacity to walk in the heavenly kingdom. At the instant we acknowledge that everyone in the world is covering up the light of God unknowingly, but we know that the light of God is here, invisibly, and flows without restrictions throughout anyone who has the vision, the awareness of the presence. And it is our function to have that awareness. That is a 24-hour awareness. It doesn't matter what you say or do. I must know that you are the child of God. That's my salvation. I must always bathe in the invisible light. If an army is coming at us, it'll only appear that way, and I must always see in the army the invisible light. It's a hypothetical case. It may not happen, and you may not have to do that. But you will find that the invisible light will always embrace you when you do. The hardest thing is to turn something on you may know it's true, but it's buried. And you're walking around with a buried truth inside you. You've got to practice and practice and practice doing it. Learning to bring it to the surface, and out of all this practicing will come the fact that your light will shine. Many have moments of crying. Why? Because they know not the light. You will find that your help is right where you are, because ye are the light. And there's no sense crying about something when you can remedy it. And the remedy is all so simple. Live as the light. Let it shine. Let it illumine those around you. When you're sending the light out, that's all you're going to see, feel, and know. You're going to bless the world. We each have that opportunity, and as we dwell in the truth of our being, we'll find that there is nothing else true. I am the light, whether I know it or not. Ye are the light, whether you know it or not. And we, being the light, can know we are the light. We find that we are the kingdom of God. In order to find it, you have to recognize it where you are. In the magic. When you know the kingdom of light, the magic takes place. I even suspect that they don't have Bibles in the kingdom of light. Everyone is a walking Bible. Everyone. To pause on that. Yes, as he helps us see how this acceptance of letting that Christ wash us, then we must in turn wash everyone we see in that light, as that light, not as a human being trying to fix others or to be enlightened. Ye are the light. And as you behold that in awe, you will see a different business. You will see a different household, a different family. Again, this is the depth of this that Jesus was giving to each of us, but as the Christ. He knew that Jesus himself, I of myself, could do nothing. But as he recognized that Christ within, and saw it within everyone he touched, that became their light. And again, we're not trying to judge and choose between who deserves it and who doesn't. Everyone is that light. We have to take it to that element. We can't allow ourselves to judge from the appearance. We no longer see man of the flesh. Cease ye from man whose breath is in his nostrils. We walk in that kingdom as we allow our hearts to be purified, who already are pure if we accept it. So Herb ends it here. I don't know how light shakes hands, but I'd like to shake your hand before you go. I will silently acknowledge the light of you. I'm grateful for this opportunity to speak with you, to share with you. Yeah, as I'd mentioned, I was going to be doing more kind of individual or just small groups working with us. So if you'd like, let me know if you'd like to be a part of that. But we'll look forward to talking to you sometime. All right, many blessings and so much love. Be the light. You have it. Thanks again for joining me and all your wonderful comments, and we'll talk at you on the next one. Blessings.